I'm going to show you a really cool way to save a ton of time importing transactions in bulk into QuickBooks with a service called TransactionPro. Rightworks is the name of the company that makes this. Here's a preview of their page. Link is in the description below so you can check it out for yourself. But I'm going to go through the whole process of how I go from this, a multi-store inventory management system that I've homebrewed in a Google Sheet, into TransactionPro and into QuickBooks all in one fell swoop, all one time a month instead of multiple times for multiple stores throughout the weeks and months. This used to be a very laborious process, and it's now way more accurate and extremely low on the time commitment. So what do we have here? Very briefly, and if you want to know how I built this, let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to go over it. But this is a bi-week inventory and ordering form for each of the stores. You can see on the bottom, there's tabs for a 3-store company right here. The manager can inventory what they have on stock. They can order what they need for the week, and then our warehouse has access to this sheet also. It's shared with multiple people, and the warehouse employees can actually fulfill that in the delivery column. Now, the delivery column is what is totaled up over here on our totals tab. So this pulls in each store's totals for all the different categories that we track, and then it totals the amounts, which I blacked out the amounts. But the way we do our cost of goods, we want a little bit more specificity, so we break it into these subcategories and then a few expense categories also. This totals everything up. And then down below, TransactionPro is very specific about the headers that it needs so that it can communicate with your QuickBooks file. So these are the specific headers that I got from a template file that I'll show you in just a minute from TransactionPro. There's a gazillion headers that you could use. These are the only ones I need for this specific use case. Then I'm importing all of those totals from up here. The way that I have my QuickBooks set up, I've got class-based systems there. So I've got classes for each of the stores. They sort of work like a customer. And so I'll create invoices down there, and I will both credit and debit the warehouse and the store account because it's going out of the warehouse into the store. That's more complicated than you need to know. Ultimately, though, this is the format that I need it to be in. These are the categories that are specific to my QuickBooks file that it's going to import as. Then, to make life even easier, I have an export tab, which is locked, and nobody but me can edit this. And I'm simply pulling in the array formula here from this range down below. That way, when I export the CSV file, which I'll do right now, we've got download, export, CSV to my desktop. Then it's got that top header file, and it knows that these are the headers for when it imports to Right Networks. All right, let's go to QuickBooks. In QuickBooks, there's a third-party app store. You can click Find Apps down here. The one we're using is called TransactionPro. Here it is right here. It's developed by Rightworks LLC, which is a recent rebrand for this company. They make some other stuff too, but this is how you can get it inside and hooked up to your QuickBooks. This is how I got it first hooked up to mine. Been using it about 3 years now. No problems really, other than the initial setup is a little bit tedious. Here's their company page and the TransactionPro page. Again, it's about importing, transferring data and lists between QuickBooks and Excel or CSV files. I've only done this the one way, so you can actually export in bulk and you can update and delete in bulk. Also, I only ever use this to import. So far, it's the only use case that I've needed, but you can do both if you need that. This is their sales page, blah, blah, blah. You can click on Buy Now, and it takes you to their pricing page, which defaults to the desktop version. So if you have desktop QuickBooks, there is a version for this. I have online, which is either monthly subscription or what I choose, the better deal, the annual subscription. Now, you can try it for free, which I did first, and they give you a certain amount of transactions to import. Make sure it's going to work for you. I did that. I was very skeptical of it, and it ended up just blowing me out of the water. I've been using it ever since. The Essentials plan, all this is very reasonable. $100 for Essentials. The problem is, and the reason that I'm on the growth plan, is that the Essentials only gives you 200 rows of data, which I import tons more than that. So I needed unlimited. That actually gives you also 3 online companies. If you have more than one company, this license will be good for 3 of them. $300. It's a steal in my opinion. It saves me hours and hours and hours every month. Okay, all that, you can find the link down below. I've got the link. That'll support the channel if you do end up buying it from there at no extra cost to you, so please and thank you. What we have now, though, is we've got the file on our desktop. Now let's go back to QuickBooks. Let's go over to the sidebar. We'll say Overview because we've already installed the app. Here it is right here. And I'm going to say Launch App. This takes us to their App Center over here on the Right Networks or TransactionPro site. Gives you the billing information. It says Open App, which is what we're going to do. And then from here, we want to import a file. And if you wanted to delete or export, you could select it there. The way I have mine set up is as an invoice. Now I'm going to click in a new tab, this template file down here below. And let's come over here for when you're first getting set up and see what you need. So there's some sample files here. It's terribly laid out. You can't even see what these are named. One of them is a US version and one of them is non-US. If you hover over them, you can see the title down below. These are just Excel sheets. This one on the right is the US version. I'm going to open it in the browser just to give you a taste of what it looks like. It's opened up to the invoice part, and these right here on row 1, these are all of the different headers that are optional or required. So the required ones are up here in red, and all the rest of them are optional available headers that you can import via invoices. So they've got another tab for estimates, then employees, then deposits, customers, credit memos. I mean, there's a ton you can see down at the bottom, vendors, transfers, time activities. The only ones that I use are the bills right here, or the invoices if I'm bulk importing invoices. But you can do this on all these other types of transactions for QuickBooks. Okay, that's how you get the template for the information for how to set up your template for your importing. Let's go back here and we're going to select invoices. I'm going to select desktop and I just put it right there. We're going to select file and sheet. We're going to import sheet. And then it's going to come over here to the QuickBooks field matchup, and it's going to do its best to match up the QuickBooks field, which is built into the software here, and what it can sync up with the import column, which it's pulling from the header row in either your Excel workbook or your CSV file that you just uploaded. So it matches these up. I've just got these, copied over verbatim, so it has no trouble matching these up as it is supposed to. We can then click Preview and Import, and it's going to give us a preview of the data over here. And I've got 66 rows of data that I'm going to import and close. I'm going to select Yes. And now it'll take us over to a queue screen, and it'll say all the other imports that we've done. It's just a history of what we've done and when we've done it. And we're going to have a status of in progress right here for what we just did. We refresh this a couple times. It usually takes, maybe a couple minutes. There, it's already completed there in a matter of a couple seconds. Now I'm in the customer list, and I'm going to black this out just for confidentiality, but here is the invoice that I just imported in there. If we go in here and edit this invoice, we can add an invoice number, which interestingly, QuickBooks doesn't fuss at us for not having initially, but if I tried to save this and go out of here, it will squawk at me and say, hey, you have to enter an invoice number. So I'll tag that. I'll save this. That's how I save a ton of time each month importing bulk transactions into QuickBooks using this TransactionPro software. I highly recommend that you check it out, especially if you're a small business or a bookkeeper or an accountant that has to do this on a regular basis. It's been well worth the cost of admission to me. This is not a paid sponsorship. This is just one of my workflows that saved me tons of time. I do have a partner link below where I've partnered with them to where I get a cut of the commission if you do end up purchasing the software, but please go try it out for free. See if it's right for you first. I stand by it. Hope you have a great one, and goodbye.